Hydrashok Deep 380 ACP versus 38 Special+P, and this has been a long time coming trying to test this ammo. A lot of weird stuff has happened where I've had trouble finding it and all of that. I won't get into that, but this 38 Special was actually, the funds were sent over by one of my Patreon supporters, Calamity Jane, to test that 38 Special, and I'm going to test it in the 3-inch barrel Taurus 856. And for a long time, people have asked to see the 380 ACP Hydrashok Deep. I'm going to test that through my 3.68-inch barrel Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ. The 380 ACP is rated at 975 feet per second through a 3.75-inch barrel, and the 38 Special is rated 900 feet per second through a 4-inch V barrel, which is basically a test barrel that they cut a slit to simulate a revolver or cylinder gap. So she sent over the funds to test this ammo, and a lot of people have asked me about this 380 ACP. What's interesting about this ammo is that the 380 version, it says directly on it that it is designed to expand and penetrate. And it says, quote, the first expanding 380 ought to consistently penetrate beyond the FBI recommended 12-inch minimum in bare gel and through heavy clothing. So that's a very interesting statement there, because a lot of people know that with 380 ACP, sometimes you can get expansion but not enough penetration, or enough penetration and not enough expansion. Now, what's really cool about ammo like this, the Hydrashok Deep, is it was pretty much developed as a direct competition to the Hornady Critical Duty. Now, we have like Federal HST, we have Spear Gold Dot and stuff like that, and that stuff is meant basically to defeat hard barriers, but the specific reason why the Hydrashok Deep was created was to have kind of a harder core, and we have a jacket design and a sturdy post designed in such a way that it's going to defeat hard barriers, and it has banding around the jacket, so it's kind of like core locked, it's kind of like bonding sort of, but it's banded, so it's kind of a competition to the Critical Duty. So I'm very interested in that, because when we talk about Critical Duty only comes in duty size calibers that are meant to perform through larger firearms, as our Hydrashok Deep comes in smaller calibers, and we're going to test it in smaller guns. So I am going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. I have this windshield set up here, and I'll explain that in a minute. But first of all, I'm just going to do our basic test where we're going to go through plain clear ballistics, see what our best potential is. Then we're going to put on 4 layers of heavy sweatshirt on the front of this, and then after 3 inches of clear ballistics, we'll have a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum. So this will be more of our real world simulation, and plain gel will just be more of our best potential. And then we're going to swap this block out, and we're going to go through this windshield here, because like I said before, it's kind of designed to be like the Critical Duty in a way. So I want to see, you know, how it does going through a hard barrier, and that's why I have a couple other rounds here. I have a basic semi-jacketed hollow point 38 Special, and just a basic Fiocchi here, jacketed hollow point. We'll send that through the windshield, and we'll see how it compares to that. Then after all of that, I am going to shoot up my steel silhouette to see what kind of practical accuracy I can get. So let's get started with this test. All right, 380 ACP, this is rated at 975 feet per second. Let's see what we actually get here. 966. No read. 923. No read. I'll back up just a little bit here. 912, I'll take those. You probably can't tell on camera, but out here today it is almost as dark as nighttime. I don't know why. It's, you know, it's supposed to be sunny, but these trees are really in the way, so my chronograph is having a hard time with the lighting here. So this stuff is rated at 900 to a 4-inch barrel. Let's see what we get through a 3-inch barrel. 902, 897, 863, 906, 908. So pretty good velocity overall through a 3-inch barrel. And that's one thing I like about the 3-inch barrel is if you look at velocity numbers from a 2-inch barrel to a 4-inch barrel, you're pretty much maximizing what you're going to get with the 38 Special through a 4-inch barrel. The 3-inch barrel is always a lot closer to the 4-inch barrel than what it is to the 2-inch barrel. So it kind of is the perfect firearm in a way, because it's very concealable, but you almost get full-size gun ballistics. So let's hit our ballistics gel block and see what we get with these. All right, plain gel for our best potential here. Let's see what we get here with our 380 ACP. All right. Set that with our 38 Special now. We'll take a look. All right, so this is some pretty interesting performance here. Both of them got about the same amount of penetration here, but what we see here with our 380 ACP is we got a little bit of bounce back, but what we see is a penetration of about 16 3/4, which is very ideal. Now, when we look at 38 Special, there's definitely more damage in there. There's a bigger cut pattern, and what we got here is a penetration of about 17 inches even. So very comparable between the two of those for what they did, just that the 38 did more damage. So let's put on our fabric and our MDF in here and see how they compare that way. All right, 380 ACP through our fabric and through our MDF. Let's see what this does. All right, let's try our 38 now. All right, same thing with our 38 Special. See how this does. Go take a look. And again, we're seeing a lot of consistency here. Definitely a lot of breaking off MDF, so that's definitely got some good expansion going on. We see expansion here with both the 380 down here and our 38 Special up here. So we're expanding some in this first 3 inches, which is good, but it looks like we're not hugely expanding, which is also good. So what we got here, we got about the same penetration between the two again. This time with the 380 being a little bit more, and this time with the 38 bouncing back a little bit. So what we got here is about 14 1/4 inches with our 380 ACP, and of course we're seeing expansion. So yes, this is doing very good for a 380 ACP. Most do terribly, but this is performing adequately. Now with our 38 Special, what we're seeing here is about 14 inches. And we have expansion, a little bit of bounce back. And with this more real world test, yeah, it looks like the 38 had maybe 10% more damage or something like that, but both very comparable between the two of these. I'm gonna say both did quite well. And for both a 380 and a 38 Special, this is looking really good. So let's put up our windshield, go through our hard barrier, and see how these compare. All right, I backed up a little bit for this because I did get a little bit of backwards glass spalling last time that I not spalling, but you know, a lot of glass coming back, hitting my hands last time I did a glass test. So what we have here is our 380 ACP with just our Fiocchi, just a basic jacketed hollow point. So I'm gonna go through that glass and I'm gonna do nothing but real world on this test. We're gonna always have our fabric up and our MDF in place. So 380 ACP, basic jacketed hollow point. See if I can make an impact with this. All right, let me try the 38 Special now. And 38 Special, just a 110 grain semi-jacketed hollow point. This happens to be a standard pressure. It's all I could find, really, of a basic round like this. So we're gonna go through the glass with this, see what this does. Let's go take a look. All right, and we definitely made some adequate hits there. We went right through that glass, and we can see that glass really messed everything up here. What we're looking at here with our 380s, it didn't go very far after hitting that glass. And I've heard people say that that know this stuff, is that hitting glass actually takes away 60% of your potential velocity. So that's a lot. You know, if you had a 380 doing, even if you're doing 960, you're going to drop that down to like, I don't know, 550 or something by the time it hits this. And that's really translating into here to what we're seeing. So we only have a penetration of 4 inches with our 380. The 38 Special, there was a little more bullet weight because this 380 is 90, this is 110 grain. With that, you know, there's a little more momentum going on. We got a penetration of about 6 1/4 inches. Now, let's put in our rounds of our Hydrashok Deep. They're really designed to go through this stuff. See what those do. All right, we have our Hydrashok Deep going on now. See if I can make a hit on here. It's going to be kind of hard to see where I'm at with this. But let's go for our Hydrashok Deep 380. Let's try our 38 now. All right, 38 Special Hydrashok Deep. Let's see what this does. go take a look. And I got a little bit close to the impact, but with the glass, but it's definitely its own hole going through there with our 38 Special. So let's take a look at this here. Here's our 380 with our Fiocchi round. Here's our basic semi-jacketed, and then here is our Hydrashok deeps, a little bit close to each other here. And what we see here is that with our 380, there really was no change in the penetration. We have pretty much identical penetration through that glass with both that cheap hollow point and this of about 4 inches. It's actually, now that I take the MDF out, it's actually a little bit less, but when I put that back in to space this out, yeah, we're at about real close to 4 inches with our Hydrashok deep. Now, our Hydrashok deep with our 38 did extraordinarily well. Even after going through that glass and through the MDF and all of that, we have a penetration of about 9¼ inches. Now, sometimes when I put my finger on this, it doesn't line up with what you're seeing here because this is a widescreen going out that way. That's why when you see the back here, it looks, you can see the butt of this instead of it being flat and not seeing the butt of this. But anyways, that did really, really well. 9¼ inches going through that glass. So what we're seeing here is, you know, in order to get hard barrier penetration, you need a couple of things. You need the right bullet design, but even with the right bullet design, if you don't have enough bullet weight and you don't have enough power, it doesn't necessarily equal out to being extraordinary. So what we're seeing here though is that, you know, this is why cops never carried 380 back in the day, and they did 38 Special. 38 Special is as good as anything else, really, if you have the right bullet design. So it's very interesting to see that. So let me shoot out my steel now, see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with all of these. All right, so I wanted to show a close-up of these bullets. Interesting here with our basic standard test that I do here, you know, they almost look like completely different calibers in a sense. They are, but I mean, the typical diameter for a 380 is 0.355, and for 38 Special 0.357. They're almost identical, but when you actually look at them, that 38 has those petals expanded so much larger that it looks like a much larger caliber than what it actually is. So here is our 38 Special here, both of our 38 Specials. That's through our MDF and through our MDF with the 380 over there. That's how those compare. And here's our best potential. Best potential with 38 and 380, MDF 38 or 380, 38. Now this is where things really matter here. So I got our 38 Special and I got our 380 here through our windshield test, and this is where things really make a difference here, because this is kind of what this is designed to do with our deep, was to bond together, to stay together. I believe the lead is actually harder the same way critical duty is. This is what will happen to your typical 380 round. You know, flattened lead, jacket separation, subpar penetration. Now we did have subpar penetration with this, with the deep, but it all stayed together. Now with this is really where we're getting up to the power levels with our 38 Special, where this matters. This is your typical 38 Special, jacket separation, flattened bullet, very subpar penetration. With our deep, this is how this is designed. It's designed to hold together and just kind of do a moderate mushroom and stay together so it can go deep. And this really, the 38 Special really highlights how good this ammo is. This is your typical whatever ammo. This is a modern ammo. This is your deep. So I wanted to show those up close. They are very interesting to see, and I would say this looks like pretty good ammo. All right, I'm gonna do 25 yards from the target. I think that's a good distance for any handgun training. You know, going beyond that, maybe not so much practical, but 25 yards at most people's maximum, it is something they should be doing, because, you know, you want to be able to have that skill to go a little bit further than just right up close. So I'm going to shoot slow with these. I'm not going to just try to pull them up and pop them off as fast as I can, all of that. You know, my Patreon supporter graciously supplied this ammo, so I want to do my best to really, like, review the ammo and not so much what I can do. So 25 yards from the muzzle, or about 26 yards from the muzzle or so. Let's see if I can do it this 380. Alright, you know, not the most accurate ever, but it does feel really good to me. It shoots pretty good. It's very predictable in every way. So I like that. So the 38 Special, now I know this gun shoots a little bit to the left. So basically what I'm going to try to do at this distance, I'm going to aim basically at the right shoulder but lower. So see if I can make any hits with this 38 Special here. Shoots really good and very powerfully. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna back up to 75 yards. I always love doing that for fun because once in a while you get an ammo when I get a day where everything's shooting well, and I just want to see how these shoot. All right, 75 yards from the muzzle. You know, I like ammo like this because it shoots really slow. It's got heavy bullets, and those are a couple things that usually tend to be more accurate at distance. But if I'm having an off day, I might not do so well. But I'm gonna try my best to place these shots. So 380 ACP, 75 yards from the muzzle. Let's see what this does. I think it may have hit low. So I'm gonna aim a little bit high. Can't tell where that hit. Wow, that dropped super low. You know, I hit that plate that I use to protect my downrange camera. I've always felt that was a good idea to have that there. Every once in a while I'll hit it, but there's no way I pulled it that much. That really, really dropped. That was interesting. I don't know why it hit like that. Now with the 38 Special, I'm gonna aim off the target just a little bit to the right because I know it shoots left. See if I'm making any hits with this. All right, I had to reload. I deleted that spiel I said about a dead primer because I only had one round in there. I don't want to look stupid, but all right, we'll keep going. All right, so I wasn't very good with that ammo for some reason. I got one round left. Yeah, I'm so used to shooting my Taurus 605 that after 5 I give up. So let me go single action one time here. That last hit I just aimed center. All right, so not so good, but that was fun to do every once in a while. And what's really weird, you know, at this distance with that 38 Special, yeah, that's going to happen because those sights are so far off. I'm going to pull it, or I'm going to try to compensate. And when you try to compensate holds, you don't get the same vision that you get when you're actually on it because you're kind of computing something. It throws me off. With this though, this should have shot a little bit better than it did at that distance. And that one hit low by, you know, probably 4 feet. That was a little off. That was a little weird. I don't know why it would do that, but anyways, what we're seeing here is this seems like really good ammo all around for both of these calibers. You know, with the 380, it's kind of hard to look at the windshield test and be like, oh, well, that didn't go through. It only went through the same as the other ammo. That being said, well, that other ammo that I tested, I actually tested in a different video. I may or may not have released it yet, but that was one of the few rounds that actually penetrated adequately and expanded. Is one of the few times, or maybe even the only time I've ever seen that. So the fact that this Hydrashok Deep matched that isn't really saying that the Hydrashok Deep isn't good, because the other round was really, really good. And also, you know, 380s don't have a lot of power, but when we went through our plain gel and we went through our fabric and our MDF, did wonderfully. We don't see that very often with 380 380 ACP. 38 Special, that did really, really well. And we compare that through our hard barrier, there was a pretty significant difference there. So I'm going to say overall, both of these are really good ammo options. I would pick either of them. I would carry them, no problems. I think they did really, really well. And that's what you want. You want to have enough penetration, and both of these did that. But they also expanded some. You know, and the way they do that is they pretty much only the copper expands. So it's kind of a trick in a way, but it works. So that's what you get today. So as always, thanks again for watching, and thank you again to my Patreon supporter, Calamity Jane, for sending this ammo. So again, thanks again, and catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.